Hey guys, I'm Jessie, and today I have another Harry Potter fan theory for you all. Actually, it's more of a continuation of this theory, but I felt like it needed to stand in its own video rather than trying to tack it on to the end of the last one. That being said, I recommend you see that one first before watching this video if you haven't already. Let's get to it.
Warning, the following video may contain spoilers.
To start off, you may remember from the last video, I talked about how Snape really wanted the Defense Against the Dark Arts position, but Dumbledore refused to let him have it because basically he already knew the position was cursed and didn't want to lose Snape from Hogwarts, because that would mean not only losing a friend, but his one tie to Voldemort. But after Dumbledore realized he was dying, he did then eventually allow Snape the position, with the caveat that Snape be the one to kill him when the time came. But Dumbledore must have known that Snape would be subject to the position's curse as well, right? And he definitely would know that Voldemort would come for Hogwarts after his death. Snape might have been a dick, but he was still Dumbledore's only double-agent tie to Voldemort. It's my theory that Dumbledore would have also arranged a plan for Snape to stay at Hogwarts after the first year in the Defense Against the Dark Arts teaching position. Snape becoming Headmaster.
Come on, we know after Dumbledore's death that the Death Eaters took over the Ministry and they appointed Snape Headmaster.
Well, what if that was also part of Dumbledore's plan all along?
Wait, what?
Think about it. The Headmaster's office had to accept Snape. We know this from when Dolores Umbridge was appointed headmistress by the Ministry in the Order of the Phoenix, and the Headmaster's office sealed itself against her because it did not recognize her authority. Presumably because she was Ministry appointed. Well, when the Death Eaters took over the Ministry and appointed Snape Headmaster, that would also make him a Ministry-appointed Headmaster. So why did the office accept him and not her? Because it was part of Dumbledore's plan. I mean, it makes sense. Like I said in my last video, Dumbledore knew if Snape was discovered to have been the one who killed him and was revealed as a Death Eater, he would be unable to stay at Hogwarts as a teacher. And even if somehow he was never found out, the curse would still eject him from the position in some manner or another by the end of the term. Losing Snape to the curse would mean losing his inside man who could help protect the school and the students from Voldemort's threats, while still appearing to be on Voldemort's side. And like I said, Dumbledore can't let that happen because he knew that Voldemort would come for Hogwarts after he died. So surely Dumbledore wouldn't have just said, "Well, I'm dying anyway, screw it. I'm out," and left Hogwarts to fend for itself. But how could Snape stay at Hogwarts past his one term as the Defense Against the Dark Arts professor? A loophole. Well, technically a loophole. If Snape leaves of his own accord, technically the curse has still fulfilled itself. He didn't hold the position for longer than a year. Hopefully it would prevent the curse from possibly resulting in either his death or something else terrible, like having his memory wiped like Lockhart did in Chamber of Secrets. Knowing that Voldemort would come for the school, Dumbledore also guessed that once Voldemort had him out of the way, he would try to somehow appoint one of his own Death Eaters as headmaster before making plans to attack the school directly. In fact, it's not too big of a stretch to say that Voldemort may have already discussed a plan like this with his Death Eaters and Snape related to Dumbledore at some point. And even if he didn't, it only makes sense. Dumbledore knew that Voldemort wasn't an idiot and would put his people on the inside of the school to check out its weaknesses before launching an attack. He also might have guessed that if Voldemort were to do this, the person he'd choose would probably be Snape, as he already worked in the school and knew Hogwarts in and out. Plus, it would raise the least suspicion from anybody in the school that the Ministry would appoint a professor already working at Hogwarts to the headmaster position, since Umbridge clearly didn't work out so well. If this was something Voldemort already had made plans to do, it would have worked out for Dumbledore, as Snape was already Dumbledore's inside man. Only problem is that Voldemort questioned where Snape's loyalties truly lied, and would have been hesitant making Snape his lead inside man, even if he had already been working inside Hogwarts for years. If only there was some way to make Voldemort believe he had Snape's complete allegiance. Oh wait, there is!
You must be the one to kill me, Severus. It is the only way. Only then will the Dark Lord trust you completely.
I also believe that Dumbledore asking Snape to be the one to kill him could have also been a step in a bigger overall plan to get Snape in the headmaster's seat. Not only would it spare Draco from being the one to do the deed, and give Snape an excuse to leave the Defense Against the Dark Arts position before something really terrible could happen to him, but it would be a massive show of his allegiance to Voldemort. Voldemort would then trust Snape enough to permit him to come and go as necessary. This is important because Snape needed to be able to observe Voldemort's interaction with the Nagini, and also be able to find Harry when the time was right, because Dumbledore already told him that Harry needed to die in order to defeat Voldemort. But he needed to be kept alive until the right moment.
So when the time comes, the boy must die?
Yes. Yes. He must die.
You've kept him alive so that he can die at the proper moment. You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter.
But why go through all this? Even if this plan does work, Dumbledore knows he'll be dead, and Snape won't know where to go after that. It's completely possible that Snape wasn't even aware that this was part of the plan when Dumbledore told him that he needed to kill him. Dumbledore did like to keep his plan secret, after all. We know this because in Deathly Hallows, Harry looks into Snape's pensive and sees Snape's memory of himself calling out Dumbledore for just this. So even if this works out after he dies, there's not much more Dumbledore can do to guide Snape with this plan. Or is there? There's one thing many of you may have forgotten: the Headmaster's portraits. Let me explain. In the Headmaster's office, there are portraits of many Headmasters who have served at Hogwarts. If a Headmaster dies in office, and in good standing, their portrait will appear on the wall immediately, just as Dumbledore's did after his death. Why is this important? Well, we all know that the paintings in Hogwarts can move and talk. Now, according to Pottermore, the reason the paintings move is due to enchantments placed on the paintings by the wizard painter. The portrait will be able to use some favorite phrases of the subject and imitate their behavior, but it's a bit limited. Take the portrait of Sir Cadogan, for example. His portrait is forever challenging people to a fight, stumbling, and falling off his horse, because this is how he appeared to the wizard who had to paint him. The painting is semi-sentient, but it doesn't represent the entirety of Sir Cadogan's personality or a full accounting of his memories. So his portrait can speak to you and hold a conversation with you about things it's witnessed in the castle, but it wouldn't be able to hold a very interesting conversation about himself, as the painting knows little, if anything, of its subject's life. The exception to this rule, however, are the Headmaster's portraits. To quote Pottermore, "Traditionally, a headmaster or headmistress is painted before their death. Once the portrait is completed, the headmaster or headmistress in question keeps it under lock and key, regularly visiting it in its cupboard, if so desired, to teach it to act and behave exactly like themselves and imparting all kinds of useful memories and pieces of knowledge that may then be shared through the centuries with their successors in office. The depth of knowledge and insight contained in some of the headmasters' and headmistresses' portraits is unknown to any but the incumbents of the office, and few of the students who have realized over the centuries that the portrait's apparent sleepiness when visitors arrive in the office is not necessarily genuine. This is why it's important to make sure Voldemort trusts Snape enough to make him headmaster. Snape has to have access to Dumbledore's portrait. All Dumbledore would need is for the pieces to fall into place. Step 1. Make sure Snape is the one to kill him to gain respect from Voldemort. Step 2. Hope Step 1 went according to plan and that Snape's ass landed in that headmaster seat, because otherwise the curse on the Defense Against the Dark Arts position would likely eject him from the school. Step 3. Once Snape was headmaster, Dumbledore's portrait would then work with Snape and further advise him through any future plans to defeat Voldemort and protect Harry. Yeah, the portrait still wouldn't be Dumbledore, as McGonagall told Harry in The Cursed Child. However, Dumbledore would have had the mind to teach the portrait all the thoughts and memories necessary to be able to help guide Snape through the rest of the plan. And the portrait would have been sentient enough to give Snape advice on any new dangers Voldemort threw at Hogwarts based on the memories and knowledge Dumbledore had imparted on it. Think of it like that episode of Black Mirror, where the guy dies in a car crash and his wife discovers that technology now allows her to communicate with an artificial intelligence imitating her husband. The AI could answer questions as he would, and hold a conversation as he would, all based off the information provided to it by the man's social media. But it wasn't completely, truly him. However, in Dumbledore and Snape's case, it would have been enough to work through the rest of the plan. Dumbledore needed Snape to have unfettered access to the Headmaster's office and Dumbledore's portrait after his death to help defeat Voldemort after he was gone. If not, the portrait could never tell Snape to give Harry Godric Gryffindor's sword at the right moment. Another, perhaps darker reason involves when Dumbledore told Snape that Harry must die at the right moment, meaning after the rest of the Horcruxes were destroyed.
So when the time comes, the boy must die?
Yes. He must die. And Voldemort himself must do it. That is essential.
If Harry died before the time is right, Snape would need to report it to Dumbledore's portrait, at which point the portrait would likely only then tell Snape the story of the Elder Wand. Like I said, Dumbledore liked to keep secrets. And where to find it in hopes that Snape would be able to use his skill at occlumency to get close enough to Voldemort unawares and try to take matters into his own hands. But luckily that didn't happen because it would have been disastrous. Dumbledore made it very clear that it was essential that Voldemort be the one who killed Harry. The prophecy clearly states either must die at the other one's hand. One has to kill the other. Since Harry must die, because he's a Horcrux, he can't be the one to kill Voldemort. So in order for the prophecy to come true, and in order for the Dark Lord to be vanquished, Voldemort has to be the one to kill Harry. Because he can't kill Harry. This is because Voldemort used Harry's blood as a part of his new body when he reincarnated, thus tethering Harry to life by the blood they now shared. Dumbledore even says that it was a mistake for Voldemort to take Harry's blood as part of his new body. That by doing so, the sacrificial protection from his mother was now enhanced to the point that Voldemort couldn't really kill him. This implies that Dumbledore might have guessed that once Voldemort attempted to kill Harry, that it would only result in the Horcrux within him being destroyed, leaving Harry alive to kill Voldemort. So it was essential that this plan worked out and that Snape fell into the Headmaster's seat. Dumbledore knew that if Snape had access to his portrait, he could work with it to keep Harry safe up until the right time for Voldemort to kill him. Because if anyone other than Voldemort had killed Harry, and or killed him before the rest of the Horcruxes had been destroyed, then Harry would have just been dead. And if that happened, then who knows if the Dark Lord could have been defeated. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Tell me what you think of this theory in the comments. Right now, it's time to feature some art. Take a look at this piece from artist Madeline from France. If you'd like a chance to see more of her work, check out her links in the description. Also, if you'd like a chance for your art to be featured in one of my future videos, then submit your art via social media. All my links are down below. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. For now, why not check out one of my other videos to the left? Could be fun. And to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm doing a giveaway once this channel reaches 500 subscribers. More info on that in the description. Again, thank you all for watching. Bye!